to sum up in one sentence, all doors were open to us. They fell over themselves, one more than the next, to cater to our interests. What can we do to help you get this building back? That was the common theme that ran through all our meetings. What had happened? What had happened was, a few months earlier, the United States had sent over $5 million worth of humanitarian aid for the purpose of allowing them to heat and electrify hospitals. Hospitals, humanitarian aid. Because Henry Clark, as ambassador representing the United States, had mentioned our case, they were terrified that if they didn't deal with us properly in relation to this building, that humanitarian aid from the United States would be jeopardized and that they would lose it all. We didn't say a word. We did not say a single word. They couldn't do enough to help us. The end result was that we got back the building. The Vadatsos and Cheslo were clever enough not to take it for nothing. They did pay for it. They could have got it for nothing, but they didn't. But they didn't pay $180,000. They paid $50,000, which is still a very, very large, substantial sum. The government was happy. The VAD was happy. It worked out for everyone. It was a win-win-win situation. The point is, we had succeeded in transforming the nature of the issue. The issue was no longer an issue about a little rundown building in some back alley of Kishinev. It was now an issue which stood at or near the top of the agenda of bilateral relations between Moldova and the United States. And it was that transformation that got us the success for which we were aiming. I mentioned a few moments ago the way a lot of European governments and their representatives view Jewish influence. It came out in the meeting in the foreign ministry. We had arranged a meeting with the two senior people in the United States section of the foreign ministry. We walked in, there was a third person there. He was introduced as the head of the Israeli section in the foreign ministry. The first words of the head of the US section were, "We know how important this issue is to Moldova's bilateral relations with the United States and with Israel." We hadn't mentioned Israel. It was of no relevance whatsoever, but in their perception, it was all bound up, the Jews and Israel, and they had to cater to our interests. It was a fascinating insight into the mentality of the people with whom we were dealing. Fortunately, it ended up as a win-win-win situation. Everyone walked away happy, and relations were burnished and improved. The general point that emerges from all of this is that the United States can be, and often is, a valuable ally in the battle to preserve Jewish cultural heritage and treasures in Europe. One of the ways in which the United States does this is through the United States Commission for the Preservation of America's Heritage Abroad. It was set up in the 1970s and it is based here in Washington. It's a governmental instrumentality, and it's charged with the duty of protecting and preserving the cultural heritage in Europe of people who are citizens of the United States. The theory is very simple. The United States is a country of immigrants. It's a polyglot community. Those immigrants and their descendants have ancestors who were in many European countries. The heritage of those people over there is relevant to the heritage of people in the United States and therefore must be preserved. And this US Commission has negotiated and entered into a whole network of treaties, bilateral agreements, with a range of countries, over 20 countries, which are designed to ensure the protection and preservation of our cultural heritage, whether it's buildings, whether it's important sites, historical sites, whether it's cemeteries or anything else. Another important manifestation of the role that the United States can and does play was the legendary Jackson-Vanik Amendment. It was introduced in 1974 by the late great Senator Henry Scoop Jackson of Washington State and Representative Vanik in the House of Representatives. It was in the era when the Soviet Union was preventing Jews from emigrating from the country. And what it did was to tie the human rights record of the Soviet Union and subsequently countries from the former Soviet Union to trade relations with the United States. What was called the most favored nation status, which allowed countries to trade with the United States on the best possible terms, was conferred only on those countries that passed muster under the Jackson-Vanik Amendment. What it meant was that if a country was not allowing Jews to emigrate, then it cost them, in terms of their trade relations with the United States, higher tariffs, higher costs, making it more difficult to earn a living in the United States. It meant that every year, countries in the former Soviet Union were subjected to scrutiny in Congress because they had to apply for a waiver under the Jackson-Vanik Amendment. And so their whole human rights records were on the table in the Congress and could be discussed, and any human rights violations could be used as a lever to grant them lesser status in trading terms and make it more difficult for them. It was a tremendous incentive. It was the United States government, through the Jackson-Vanik Amendment, that played a key role in this. In 1998, the United States Congress passed and President Clinton signed into law the International Religious Freedom Act of 1998, an act which gives the President of the United States a mandate to impose sanctions on countries which do not adhere to principles of freedom of religion. And the sanctions range from very mild, unofficial slaps over the wrist to major sanctions in terms of trade and commerce. Very, very important. These are all manifestations of the United States as a Malchus Shel Chesed, a regime that is warm and welcoming and compassionate to its Jewish population. And in these sorts of ways, it helps our Jewish community protect and preserve heritage over in the former Soviet Union and in other territories of Eastern Europe. The point is that if we don't have the wherewithal ourselves in order to create the linkage that is necessary, it's possible to enroll the assistance of the United States government. In all of this kind of work, what is particularly important is the credibility that we bring to the table. When Yitzchak Avinu said, Hakol Kol Yaakov, the voice is the voice of Yaakov, that means that we speak the language of diplomacy. What goes with it is that we carry with it credibility. It's particularly important when protecting and preserving cultural heritage, because if we allege that desecrations are taking place, whether it's of a synagogue or whether it's a cemetery or any other building or other artifact or anything over in Europe, it's important that we our word be believed, and that means we have to establish a track record of credibility. Let me give one example, two examples to illustrate the point before winding up. The case of the colour from Berdichev. A number of years ago, a girl from Berdichev in Ukraine went through this educational system conducted by Rabbi Yaakov Bleich, the phenomenal, young, dynamic leader of Ukrainian Jewry for many, many years. One of the leading figures on the international scene and a key figure in the development of Ukraine. Obviously, there are other rabbis and other personalities working, but he's a key figure. Rabbi Yaakov Bleich had a young girl go through his educational system. She graduated and she came to the United States to study, and she became engaged to a young fellow here in the United States. The United States would not grant her parents visas to come to her wedding. I came into the case, the late great Rabbi Moshe Scherer, the chairman of World Aguda, brought me into it. And I started trying to figure out why the US government wouldn't let them into the country. And the answer was that the US government had and continues to have a concern that people who come from the former Soviet Union will come here on a short-term stay, jump ship, and will stay here. And it's a well-founded concern. It's a concern that cannot be dismissed and cannot be taken lightly. What had happened was that the parents of this colour had not demonstrated in their application sufficiently strong ties to Ukraine to persuade the US government that they would in fact return. And in fact, they did have very strong ties. They owned an apartment, they had their own apartment, both had very good jobs, were earning very good money in Ukrainian terms. The mother of one of them was still there, they had family ties, and so on. What we did was we put together a second application which stressed and brought out all of these ties. We sent it over, it went to Kiev, to the US consulate, and they got the visa. I called the young fellow who was involved in the case, who had been a kind of foster parent to this girl while she was here in New York. And I said to him, Yitzchak, I said, when are her parents leaving the United States? He said, well, the chasna is this and this day. By the way, I got a brocha under the chuppah. I was invited to the chasna, I got a brocha under the chuppah. The chasna is taking place on this and this day. The Sheva brochas will finish on Sunday or Monday lunchtime. So Monday night, they're leaving. And I said, fine, can you call me Tuesday and confirm that they have left? He called me Tuesday and he said to me, they've left and here are the details. I took down the flight details, which I'd asked him for. I immediately, within an hour, faxed a letter to the State Department in Washington saying, I'm pleased to confirm that Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so departed the United States last night, leaving Kennedy Airport on KLM flight so-and-so, leaving at this time, arriving